This is a production of the Gold Arrow Podcast Network. Hello, and welcome to the Gold Arrow Camp Podcast, a podcast for friends of Gold Arrow Camp. Throughout the year, we join you to bring your day some of what makes Gold Arrow special. Our goal is to help you have fun, make friends, and grow throughout the year, not just when you're at GAC. Since we can't get together in real life, we gather here around the virtual campfire. We have some of your favorite parts of morning assembly. We also have interviews with experienced campers and some of your favorite counselors. We think it's a lot of fun. We're glad you've joined us here on the podcast. This is episode 22, where our guest is a rocks and ropes counselor from the UK. She's here to talk about what she loves at camp and the power of saying yes. It's Smudge. This week I got to talk to Smudge, and Smudge was a first-year rocks and ropes counselor in 2017. And she's so fun to talk to because even over the phone, you can just hear how much she loves camp and how much she's fallen in love with camp, even though it was only her first year this year. She also has this really nice outlook on life where she talked about saying yes to things, which is, the reason she got to camp. I really love talking to people who are willing to say yes to things. I think camp is great because it fosters an environment where it's safe to say yes. If you say yes to a new experience like water skiing or riding a horse or going up on the high ropes course, you're taking a risk. But at camp, those risks are designed to be safe for you, both physically and emotionally. So you can say yes with less risk. When that's the case, people say yes more often, and that allows them to experience things they wouldn't otherwise experience, and that makes their life richer. And I think we all grow from that. And that's pretty awesome, honestly. I've been experiencing learning the guitar, and you've been experiencing me pushing myself by playing for you. And I'm not going to sing this week, but I'm going to play a little. So enjoy. Welcome to the podcast, Smudge.
Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited that you could be here.
Me too.
So a lot of people who listen to the podcast might not know who you are. So to get started, could you tell us kind of who you are, where you're from, and what you do for us at camp?
Okay, so I'm Smudge. This summer, the 2017 summer, was my first at GAC.
Yeah.
And I spent my summer with Rocks and Ropes.
And did you love being on the Rocks and Ropes crew? Was it just fantastic or no? You can say no, and I'll just tell Rugger not to listen.
I absolutely loved it. It was like a little family, and everyone was so close, and it was amazing.
I'm really glad to hear that. When you think about Rocks and Ropes, what is it that you think Rocks and Ropes helps campers with the most?
I think probably out of all the activities at camp, I think Rocks and Ropes, we have the most campers who are pushed out of their comfort zone during our activity.
Sure.
So I think we have chance to witness and facilitate a lot of growth for campers and them like overcoming fears that they have, or maybe realizing that they have a fear that they didn't think they had, and then helping them push through it. And also, it's just so much fun to be up in the
air. We define fun so differently. I'll do it. I'll go on the high ropes course, but I'm more comfortable at the bottom.
Have you done it?
Yeah, I helped take down the auto belays at the end of the year, so I was up there like hanging way out to unhook stuff. It was really exciting. Outside of Rocks and Ropes, what's your favorite thing that happens at camp?
Oh, it's a big question, Soy.
I know. That's why I
I
asked
think, I don't know. I think probably either big campfire or appreciation campfire.
it. Oh,
But
okay.
I also love the morning assembly dance parties
Yeah.
and the dance.
So
So
basically, your answer is every event that isn't a
yeah,
program area
yeah,
is
I
the one
think
that you
so.
love outside of program areas. No, I understand. Um, I'm a huge fan of appreciation campfire. Personally, it kind of pulls at the heartstrings, and I really love it. But
Yeah,
I can. All of your answers were good answers.
thanks. I'm glad you approve.
So you just spent a summer at camp. How do you
Yeah.
think camp changes people?
Oh, um, well, from what I've experienced, like coming back and obviously seeing friends that knew me before I went to camp,
Sure.
I went and stayed with one of my friends who's at Manchester Uni a few weeks ago, and I just kept doing stuff that I didn't even like second guess, like silly things like dancing around and things like that. She's like, "Who are you? What are you doing?" So I think for me, it's just made me realize that like if I want to do something, something gives me enjoyment,
Yeah,
then I might as well just do it. And if people judge you for it, then that's their loss. Like
I
I
agree.
think the best thing about camp for me was, well, I think when I got there the first day, wow, everyone here is so loud and outgoing and just doesn't care what anyone thinks. And then obviously when you're around that,
Yeah.
it just encourages you to be like that too. And then obviously when campers get there too, then they join in or you help them to join in.
Yeah.
And then I think, yeah, coming back from that, I just feel like if I, yeah, if something's going to make me happy, then I'm not going to care what other people think. And my happiness will probably be a little bit infectious and make other people want to join in too. So
Yeah, I think
that's what I like a
I,
lot
I
about
once
it.
talked to Cheerio about this because she's the single happiest person I've ever met in my life.
I agree.
And she was saying that it's like there's this hurricane effect. Like the happier you are, you pull people into that happiness, and then they're happy and they pull people into that happiness.
Yeah.
And I think camp is just there's a concentrated happiness. And so everybody, like, you get off the bus and you're like, well, I guess that's just how things are here. I guess we're just going to be
Yeah.
happy and foolish, and that's going to be great. And it
Yeah.
really
And I think
is.
to be in that environment for, well, for us, it's like 3 months. Obviously, for you, it's a lot longer. But to be in that environment for so long, you just don't even second guess it.
Yeah.
And so, like, as I've come back, that's just the default setting for me now. And I'm like, I have to rein it in, but I want to snap people all the time. I'm like, wait, no, that doesn't happen here.
It's
But the
not
first few weeks I was back, I nearly did it so many times, and I was like, oh no, wait, no.
I could snap. Would that make you feel good if I snapped? Yeah, I'm with you. So you and I talked before the summer for a podcast episode that unfortunately
We did.
it never made it onto the website because we ran out of time, and then it was summer, and then all of it seemed so very foolish because you'd actually been here, and so you didn't want to play it after the summer because then you knew what was going on.
Yeah.
So let's play a little mental game. If you could
Okay.
go back in time to the you that was on that first interview, what would you tell you?
Um, Probably just be ready for a lot of fun, and I don't know. I don't think there's anything that I would do differently.
Well, that's
I
good.
think I'd like to think that I got stuck in with everything and fully embraced camp and made friends with as many people as possible. Um, but I think past me was probably a lot more scared than she would admit.
Yeah.
Not maybe not scared, but like nervous because she didn't know what to expect. But I think present Smudge would be like, it's okay, everyone's amazing, and you're gonna have an amazing time. There's not gonna be anything that you're not gonna enjoy about it. and just like dive into everything as early as you can.
Yeah, there's not a lot of use holding back. That's, it's interesting that you would say that, because I talked to Lyric earlier, and he's been coming for 9 years, I think. And I said, Lyric, so what would you say to like campers that are new? And he said, oh, try stuff early as opposed to being afraid and not doing stuff. He's like, I came for years before I did stuff that I found out that I loved once I did it. And then you kick yourself and you're like, I could have been doing this for more years.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the reasons that I applied to to work at camp was like I kind of, for the past few years, have just been trying to say yes to as many things as possible and search out opportunities that will like challenge me and expose me to new experiences. So I think I kind of already was in that mindset before I came, because that's why I wanted to go. But I think you can always do a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's always going to be a part of you that's like, oh, I don't know how I feel about that. I'm not sure I want to do it right now. But yeah, I agree. I think the earlier you do stuff and the more you throw yourself into it as soon as you can, I think you get so much more out of your experiences. And then you might find that you don't like something and you haven't been holding it off for so long. Like if you jump in and do it and then you're like, oh, that's not for me, then it's done and you don't have to worry about doing it again.
Yeah, because at some point, that is the opposite of the happiness hurricane, is the apprehension builds so much and the nervousness about it becomes such a big deal that it's even bigger than the thing itself. And that, I think, there's something to the idea that if you just dive in and try it when you're first scared of it, it's not such a big, scary thing. Whereas if every day I walk down there and I look up and I go, oh, it's so far, and you spend all your time thinking about this thing, just if you do it, it's done. And then you don't have to dominate your thoughts anymore.
Mm-hmm. Instead of it being one high ropes course, it ends up being the equivalent to what seems like 4 or 5.
Yeah, it becomes so much bigger because your brain can do that. Your brain can make you really happy, or your brain can make you really anxious. And I think to some degree, action solves both of those problems, right? If we just focus on being happy, we're happy. If we focus on being scared, I think we end up there. I don't know. So you talked about, right then, you had been in a mode of kind of saying yes and finding things to challenge yourself. And so coming to camp was a big part of that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just curious because I certainly, when I was younger, didn't have that drive to do that kind of thing internationally. What was it that drew you to something so outside of kind of English culture? Because certainly summer camp is a very, 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 very American thing.
Yeah, they don't exist over here.
Right. So what was it that made you say, okay, not only am I going to go to a different country, but I want to work in a thing that doesn't even exist at home?
I think it's something that I've always been aware of, like Camp America or going to summer camps in the States. It's quite a gap year thing for people to do. So I don't know who I knew who did it first, but I think I'd just been aware of it for quite a while. And then some of my friends started doing it in our first and second year of uni. And probably obviously people who'd started going to uni before me, so a few years older. And everyone I've known that's done it has been like, it's the most amazing thing I've ever done. And I kind of did things that were similar. Like I was part of Scouts.
Yeah.
So like over here, girls can be part of Boy Scouts.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a mixture. So I got to do a lot of climbing from quite a young age. And that's how I got into like the rocks and ropes stuff. And then, I don't know, last summer I worked at, it was kind of similar to a summer camp, but it was they called it an activity and language camp. Okay. So we had European kids who'd come over for like 2 or 3 weeks, and half of their day was activities and half of it was English lessons. And I really enjoyed that, but I wanted to do something that was like one step up from that and like camp was always something that I'd thought about doing, so that's why I like started to apply. But I think the main thing that made me want to do it was that I knew so many people who'd absolutely loved it, and because it appealed to like all the parts of camp, like being outside, going to new places, meeting new people, being in a different country, having fun. They're all things that I enjoy and that attract me to things. So in combination, it seemed like there would be no reason for me not to try and do it.
That's a really, really good answer. The answer is normally like, I wanted to see the States and summer camp seemed fun, so I went. You put some thought into this thing. All right. It's time for the speed round, Smudge. Questions everybody answers. What is your favorite song at camp?
This isn't going to be a quick answer. There's too many to choose from. I don't know. I think the camp song.
The camp song? You like to wada wada wada?
Yeah.
I don't blame you. It's my favorite. Favorite item on the salad bar?
Cucumber.
Cucumber. What an English answer. Favorite lip balm flavor?
Tiller towards tangerine.
Oh, I agree. That's hands down my favorite. Mallows or popcorn?
Mallows.
And what's your real name? I'm so sorry, Smudge. We're all out of time. This is your second time, and I can't get to that answer. Thanks for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having me. I enjoyed it a lot.
In a world with far too much seriousness, far too much drama, we bring you something different. The joke of the cast. Do you guys know what a clock does when it's hungry? It goes back 4 seconds. And now, it's time for another Gaxpiration with Sunshine. Today's Gaxpiration comes from Mary Smudge. Do one thing every day that scares you. Well, that does it. We're out of time. We've ended another Gold Arrow Camp podcast. Need to thank bensounds.net. They provide our intro and outro music. Really want to thank Smudge for coming on the show. Really had a good time chatting with her. And most of all, I want to thank you for listening. Doing a podcast is just talking to yourself if nobody else listens, so I appreciate it. If you would, go ahead and leave us a review on iTunes. That would be great. Share us with a friend who doesn't know camp yet. We'd love to talk to people about camp. Well, it looks like we're out of time. I'm Soy, and I'll save a marshmallow for you.